4.2 million. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the number of premature deaths caused globally every single year by ambient air pollution, according to the World Health Organization. It's a staggering figure, right? It really establishes the massive, deeply personal stakes of the environmental crisis we're facing today. I mean, this is something that affects almost every living being on the planet.
Which brings us to a really fascinating contrast and honestly a vital question. How can the world's smallest materials solve our absolute biggest environmental crisis? We're literally talking about microscopic technology going toe-to-toe with macroscopic, planet-wide pollution. So, welcome to this explainer. I am so excited to guide you through this today. We're going to explore microscopic heroes, how nanomaterials can clean our planet. Let's dive right into this and see exactly how cutting-edge science is leveraging microscopic tech to defeat an overwhelming global threat.
Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, meet the nanomaterials, getting a grip on the scale of this stuff. So what exactly are nanomaterials? Well, by definition, they're ultrafine particles ranging from just 1 to 100 nanometers. But here's the absolutely crucial point. Their true power doesn't just come from being minuscule. At this incredibly tiny scale, they start exhibiting truly unique chemical and physical properties. They suddenly possess remarkably high surface areas, strong oxidation power, and incredible reactivity. And that allows them to capture or break down pollutants in ways our conventional materials simply can't pull off.
To truly grasp this scale, think of something familiar, like an ant, which we measure in millimeters. Pretty small, right? Then a human hair, scaling down to micrometers. But to actually get down to the nanoscale, we have to shrink way past a single bacteria, all the way down to the size of a virus, or even a single strand of DNA. That 1 to 100 nanometer range is just absolutely mind-bending.
And despite being so microscopic, these materials are incredibly versatile. They can actually take on completely different structural arrangements depending on the job they need to do. They can be zero-dimensional, like atomic clusters or quantum dots. They can be one-dimensional carbon nanotubes, two-dimensional flat sheets like graphene, or even full three-dimensional structures like aerogels. This diverse geometry, that's really their superpower.
Moving on to Section 2, how tiny tech cleans, the actual mechanisms of action.
For decades now, we've relied on traditional physical, chemical, and biological methods to clean up our water and air. But these outdated conventional treatments, they often suffer from massive capital costs, really complex operations, and sometimes they even create secondary contamination. Now, contrast that with nanomaterial strategies. Because of their high specific surface area and extreme reactivity, they offer a highly efficient alternative. They actually target pollutants right at the source without bringing along all those traditional drawbacks. Picture it like this. When acting as a physical barrier, these nanoscale weapons actively intercept heavy pollution. Imagine a heavily polluted environment with microbes, heavy metals, and industrial smog just pouring out. But as those contaminants flow through, these nanoscale weapons act as a dynamic filter. They literally transform the toxic inputs into a clean, green, revitalized environment on the other side.
So what's actually happening inside that filter? What's the arsenal? Well, it breaks down into a few highly dynamic mechanisms. We have adsorption, where pollutants are actively sequestered onto the vast surface area of the nanoparticles. Then filtration physically captures contaminants. Next, we've got oxidation and photocatalysis. This is where these materials literally degrade and mineralize toxic chemicals, turning them into harmless substances like water and CO2. And finally, disinfection, where the nanoparticles actively damage the cellular membranes of harmful microbes.
All right, Section 3, the nanomaterial family tree. Let's look at the different types. We actually have a wonderfully diverse family tree to work with here. There are 3 major branches: inorganic-based nanomaterials, carbon-based nanomaterials, and organic-based nanomaterials. And the cool thing is, each branch is engineered with highly specific, distinct traits to target specific environmental threats in our air and water. Let's start with the inorganic ones. This group includes metal oxides, magnetic iron, and nanoclays. Metal oxides like titanium dioxide are just incredible. They can actually purify indoor air by decomposing pollutants the second they're exposed to UV light. Meanwhile, magnetic iron oxides? Total game changer for water treatment. They bind to heavy metals, and then the whole package can be easily pulled out of the water using nothing but an external magnetic field. How cool is that? Next up, we have the carbon-based nanomaterials, featuring absolute superstars like carbon nanotubes and graphene.
What makes these so incredibly effective is their highly durable, porous honeycomb structure. These lattices basically act as the perfect, highly reactive traps for both organic and inorganic pollutants. Plus, their electronic conductivity and massive surface area make them some of the most promising adsorbents in existence today.
And the third branch is organic nanomaterials. Get this, we are literally turning abundant, natural plant cells into advanced tech. By chemically and mechanically breaking down materials like wood fibers and fruit peels, we can extract cellulose and lignin to create advanced nanomaterials. It really just proves that nature itself is providing the raw, low-cost ingredients for this cutting-edge cleanup. Which brings us to Section 4, Smart Membranes and Sensors, the next-gen applications. A massive breakthrough in this field right now is the development of nanocomposite membranes, or NCMs for short. These are advanced, highly selective filters created by mixing nanoparticles directly into a polymer matrix. By blending particles like silver or titanium dioxide right into the membrane itself, we dramatically boost their thermal stability. And critically, we give the membrane the ability to actively kill microbial threats as the water passes through it.
But to truly defeat pollution, we can't just clean it, we actually have to monitor it. Enter nanosensors. Think of these as our frontline scouts. They offer real-time, highly precise detection of pollutants at sub-picomolar scales. That means they can detect unimaginably tiny traces of contaminants. They can wirelessly monitor chemical and physical phenomena at the exact same time, acting as highly sensitive alarms to instantly detect airborne toxic gases or waterborne heavy metals.
Finally, Section 5, the future of cleanup. Let's talk realities and challenges.
We really have to ask a very crucial question here to keep things impartial. Are there risks to using microscopic tech in our environment? As with literally any powerful new technology, we have to honestly examine the potential drawbacks and safety concerns of nanotechnology. So what's the catch? Well, deploying these highly reactive particles does come with some steep hurdles. First off, there are high production costs and real challenges with the particles aggregating or clumping together, which basically ruins their efficiency. But the biggest concern? That would be their interaction with other media, unintentional release, and potential toxicity. If these incredibly reactive nanoparticles leach out into the environment and aren't properly controlled, they could absolutely cause secondary health and ecological issues.
To overcome this, the path forward is pretty clear. For nanomaterials to safely fulfill their immense potential, science absolutely must master their stability. We need standardized synthesis methods to ensure consistency every time. We have to establish careful, strict regulations to protect living organisms. And crucially, we need dedicated, long-term toxicity studies to fully understand how these tiny heroes behave in the wild over time.
And that leaves us with a final provocative thought. As our global pollution problems continue to grow larger and way more complex, is the ultimate solution to think smaller? It's an incredible contrast to ponder, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you wanting to learn more about how microscopic tech might just save our macroscopic world.